It is entirely too hot to be wearing this today. Hi guys, it's been a little while and I just wanted to do a quick little catch-up video today, standard issue podcast style, because I have some whips I would like to discuss with you, and also clearly this. I am profusely sweating. Thank you for asking. If I pass out from heat stroke, all I can say is that at least it will be on camera, because I feel like that might do numbers. This video is going to be kind of short and sweet because I do in fact have a dentist appointment in an hour and a half, so I have to go do that. Not excited, but that's fine. I have a few things I wanted to catch up with you guys about, a couple of finished objects actually, and then several whips that I'm very excited about and want to show you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm like, this is bad. Up first, we have, of course, my Olga jacket. She is done. I have stats. So I started this cardigan on April 3rd, 2025, and I finished it on June 1st. So that's almost exactly 3 months. I am not a monogamous knitter, so I was not knitting exclusively on this. I knit this in a size small using 4mm needles. With petite knit sizing, I'm kind of like exactly between a small and a medium. If there was a size in between those two, I think I would be that size. So I like kind of flip-flop back and forth between the small and the medium depending on what I'm making. So for this one I went with the small, and I do kind of wish I went up to the medium a little bit. It's a little bit short. Like, it hits perfectly. I just think maybe it could have been just like a little bit longer and a little bit looser. Will that stop me from wearing it? No. And also I could try to block it again and get a little bit more stretch out of it, which I'm not opposed to trying. And then if need be, I can undo the bottom ribbing and do a few more sets of stripes, and that would solve one of those issues. So overall, I'm a big fan of this. I think it's so cute. It's really warm. Let me tell you, it's currently 70 degrees in Seattle, which for us, that's hot. That's hot for us. My apartment building is brick, so I'm essentially filming in a brick oven right now, wearing 100% wool. So don't say I never did anything for you, okay? But no, I love how this turned out, other than just like the minor fit things. For this project, I used Purgant, my beloved, in the colors Yellow Ochre and Tutti Frutti Natural. That one, I've said this before, there's like several different names for it depending on what store you're looking at, but I think Tutti Frutti is the most fun to say, so I'm going with that. I'll give you a close-up. So as you can see, the ochre is like a true ochre. And side note, this color is discontinued, and don't get me started because I do not know why they did that. This is just such a good color. But the Tutti Frutti is like a natural cream-colored yarn with flecks of rainbow confetti, which I'm obsessed with confetti yarns. I think I saw somebody use this exact color combo on Instagram, and I fear I became a bit obsessed with it. I could not rest until I had acquired the yarn to make it for myself, which is precisely what I did. And here we are. Lovely Italian bind-offs on everything. I really like that the stripes continue down into the ribbing for the cuff and the hem. So I like that. The one part of this that did give me some trouble was the collar. I had to restart the collar, I think, 3 separate times. The first time I tried to do that double knitted detail situation, and I got through that and I got some of the ribbing done, and I just wasn't liking how it was looking. It looked a little bit messy, which is like clearly a skill issue because other people do that and it looks great. But I ripped that out, and then I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do regular collar. Picked up too many stitches. It was super floppy woppy, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this right. Tore that one out and then picked up a correct number of stitches and ended up with this little collar. It does still do a weird thing in the back that I'm not sure if you can see, but it kind of like sticks out a little bit. I don't know what that's about. I've never had that happen before, so couldn't tell ya, but it's in the back and I can't see it, so I do not care. Overall, very happy with this. I think it's super cute. I think it's like exactly my style, and I actually had a lot of fun knitting the stripes. I wasn't sure how much I was gonna like that. I've never knit stripes before, which seems weird, but I actually really loved the process. You just carry the yarn with you so it doesn't leave a bunch of ends to weave in, and it made it go by really fast, it seemed like, but I mean, clearly it was 3 months, so it wasn't that fast. but it felt fast to me. I love this one. I would highly recommend the Olga jacket, Olga sweater, the Olga cinematic universe, if you will. The best time to wear a striped sweater is in fact all the time.
The best time to wear a striped sweater is all the time.
And that's something I've always said. Keep that in mind. And that is my first finished object of the day. I'm so sweaty. Like, I cannot stress enough. I'm like a baseline kind of a sweaty gal, to speak my truth. That's just who I am at my core. And then you throw wool on me in the aforementioned pizza oven apartment when it's 70 degrees out, and this is just like a really bad scene. But I don't want to take it off because it's so cute. God gives her toughest battles to her strongest soldiers, I fear. Second and last finished object is my Romanticist's bandana. This is a pattern by Meredith Campbell. Give you a little close-up. I'll try it on even though it's gonna look goofy as hell with my hair in a ponytail. I did debate wearing this, but my hair was exceptionally poofy today, so it just wasn't gonna happen. Ugh, it's just serving Little House on the Prairie in the best way. Can you even? I love this thing. I want 100 of them. It's so cute. If you haven't knit yourself a bandana, I strongly encourage you to do so. I feel like I'm living my true self with this. Okay, so I knit this in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk held double, and this was left over from a project I did last summer, so I got to use up. It only took less than one ball, so good little scrap yarn project. And I knit this to pattern, but for the I-cord edge, I did use a cordsmith tool that I purchased from the Tea Cozy Yarn Shop here in Seattle. There's a little bit of a size difference in my I-cord, but I don't think you could tell unless you were like really looking at it, and I don't know who's going to be looking at a bandana that closely besides a weirdo, so I'm cool with that. The cordsmith makes about like a 4 to 6 millimeter sized I-cord depending on your yarn weight, and then for the applied I-cord that you do to attach it to the bandana, I think I used a 4.5 millimeter needle, but again, I really don't think you can tell, and using the cordsmith saved me so much time. Oh my god, I love that thing. I bought it specifically for this because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm making 50 centimeters of I-cord. That's just not happening. Like, that's not my journey. I texted the owner of the Tea Cozy because we're neighbors as well, and I texted her and I was like, hey, can I buy a cordsmith and can you drop it off at my house, please? And she did, which was super cool and major, and thank you very much. Yeah, I highly recommend the cordsmith. It's also fun. I just got going and I was like, I don't want to stop. I'm gonna keep making I-cord. I did make my I-cord longer because I was just having a jolly good time. If you don't have a cordsmith, I recommend getting one. Yeah, that's my Romanticist bandana. I'm really happy with it. I've already worn it out a couple of times and I think it's super cutesy and protecting my poor little scalp from the hot sun, which is important because skin cancer. I think I'm becoming delirious from the aforementioned heat stroke. I mean, that's true, but this just like isn't a PSA. Maybe it is. Romanticist bandana, love her. For whips, I have two that really haven't changed very much since you last saw them, but I'll still show you. First up is my Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis. I have like a decent amount of the body done. My holdup right now is A, I need to wind a new cake of yarn, and B, I need to try it on to see where I'm at lengthwise. I just don't want to put it on barber cords. That just seems like a whole thing. Even though I know it's really not. I do that all the time. That's just my truth and I'm gonna speak it. So, Dad Sweater by Emily Curtis. I'm knitting this on size US 5, 3.75 millimeter needles, and I'm using the infamous La Bien-Aimée confetti tweed in the color Yellow Brick Road. This one's kind of stalled a little bit, but pretty good progress-wise. I think it'll be done when it's done, and I'm not stressed about it at all. The confetti's looking cute though. I think it's just coming together a little bit more with the confetti. I was worried about it at first, but I think it is starting to become more of a whole entity. You know? Second whip that really hasn't changed at all is my Excavation Blanket. This one, I think it's pretty much exactly where it was the last time I showed you. It's really fun to work on actually, but the thought of like sitting down and knitting a wool blanket right now in this sweltering heat of 70 degrees. It makes me want to throw up a little bit. So I haven't really been working on this. It is really cool though. I am happy I started this one. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done. Plus we'll get hopefully a lot of scraps out of stash because God knows I need that. But yeah, I'm using US 4 3.5mm needles for this bad boy and just using whatever scraps I have. They're of similar weights but not always the same. I think I'm falling around like a DK weight on average for this. Hasn't changed much since you last saw her. More exciting stuff is happening now. Okay, so first up I have a test knit I'm doing. Okay, listen, permission to speak my truth for a second here because I really don't like doing test knits. I think that's something I've known for a while. Every time I do a test knit, I'm just not having a good time. And it's never the fault of the pattern or the designer or like the group or anything. There's just something about imposing a deadline on myself when I have so many other deadlines that I actually like have to meet, like for real life responsibilities that aren't like hobby related. Like, why am I doing that to myself? And like, I'm getting to help out somebody in the community, which is cool. Like, that's, I think, a good reason to test knit. But as somebody that has a lot on my plate currently already, I don't think test knitting is for me right now. It's just every time I do it, I just get so unnecessarily stressed out about it. And then that makes me not want to work on the project, which makes me more stressed. And it just becomes like this cycle of straight up not a good time. So that said, this is... That was a really bad preface for this project. I swear the pattern is great and the group is great and the designer's great. This is all me issues, okay? This is where I'm at, and this is gonna be hard to show because it's kind of bunched up. This is the Sardine sweater, test knit or sweater weather ceramics, and this is a little short sleeved. This is really aggressively difficult to show you. It's little sardines, and then I'm almost to the point where I'm going to start suns that are going to go in between the sardines. So this is what I have. This is due in like 12 days. So I'm not sure that's going to happen, and I will message the designer. And for that I am sorry. But I've had to restart this 4 times. And I think and I hope and I pray that this one will be successful. But the first 3, oh God, the first one I started reversed with the colors. So I did the yellow as my main color and the white as my contrast color. But then I realized that that would make the suns white. And I was like, wait, no, I want the suns to be yellow. So I ripped it out, started over, and I had gotten like halfway through the fish when I made that realization because I am a genius, clearly. Started over, and my ribbing was just like a nightmare. It looked so bad for some reason. So I ripped that out, started again, and then I messed up the chart and I somehow got off on the chart and it was all a mess. And I realized that by the time I had gotten to like the fish head, and I was like, shit, gotta rip back again. So considering how many times I have restarted this, I could like have almost a whole sweater by now, but I don't, and here we are. So yeah, I'm gonna have to message her. And then I just hate feeling guilty. I hate feeling guilty. And I feel guilty for probably not finishing this on time, you know? I need to stop test knitting. I can't do this to myself. But for this test knit, I'm using Rosa Pomar Mungo, which is a recycled cotton and wool blend. I think it's 50-50. So that's the other thing with this that's making it difficult for me to want to work on it. As we know from my halibut sweater journey, I'm just not a big colorwork yoke fan. There's something about the process that I just find excruciating. And then I'm also not the biggest fan of working with cotton yarn. And so this just combined 2 things that I already kind of don't like using or doing and put it into one thing and then added on the pressure of it being a test knit. And I'm crumbling. Quite frankly, I am crumbling under that pressure. It's not good. I feel like my tension is a wreck. My tension is so bad. If you look closely at this and it wasn't so bunched up, like my tension is ridiculous. My floats are aggressively long. So we're doing ladder back jacquard for this, which I'm glad I learned that technique because it is very handy, but I cannot figure out the tension for this, especially with it being cotton, and I knit continental, so I have both colors in my left hand, and I just can't figure out how to get them to tension properly. It's just been a wreck. And then the cotton is like hurting my little fingies, and I'm just like, I don't want to. And then I also just see like all of the other testers finishing their sweaters and they look incredible, and I'm just like, this is gonna be embarrassing for me, I think. This is gonna be embarrassing. It is a lovely pattern though. Please don't get that twisted in any way. I highly recommend the pattern. It's great, very well written, excellent charting. This is 100% a me issue. I just want to make that abundantly clear. It's an adorable pattern and I do really want this finished object. So I'm going to power through and finish this. It's just like jury's out on if it will be done in 12 days. So in response to me not wanting to work on this, in my infinite wisdom, what I decided to do was just cast on other stuff, because that makes sense. So first up, I talked about this last episode, but my friend June and I picked up this yarn from Universal Yarns. It's like a mixed weight yarn, different textures and colors and stuff. And I was talking about how we wanted to use a blouse number 1 pattern, but we weren't sure if we were going to get gauge. So I went on a swatching adventure. I actually did get exactly the gauge of blouse number 1 by using US 10 or 6mm needles. So my gauge is like literally spot on, which I was not expecting because this is like such a varied texture situation, and the yarn itself is classified as bulky. So I was very confused, but happy. So this is what I have so far. I have not split 4 sleeves, just working on the sleeve cap in the round. This has knit itself, basically. This knit up so freaking fast. I started this on Sunday. It's Tuesday. I don't know if it's my chow goos. This is the first time I'm using my chow goos on a bigger project. I used them for my romanticist bandana as well. But this is just going so fast. I don't know if it's the chow goos or the yarn or the pattern or my procrastination. I just cannot tell what's making this go so fast, but it's flying by. My measurements were for a size medium, but I went up to a size large because I wanted it to be a bit more oversized. Glad I did that. I think that's gonna pay off. I am gonna have to buy more of this yarn though, because this is 1 full skein and I have 4. So I have 3 skeins left. That's not happening. So gonna have to go back to the knitter's studio and pick up a few more of these, I think. But I'm loving this. This is so fun to knit. This has made me feel excellent, which I needed because I was like really kind of procrastinating and not wanting to knit anything. And then I cast this on and I was like, actually, this is fun. June casted hers on as well over the weekend, so matchy sweaters coming soon. Okay, and then my last whip. So my last whip is actually not knit. I went back to my roots, guys, and I'm doing a crochet pattern. I love crochet in the summer. There's something about it that just really translates well to summer garments. So this is the beginnings of the Blok top by Rose Knitwear, which is ironic considering this is crochet, but that's fine. I acquired this yarn. It's like a vintage cotton fleece, so 80% cotton, 20% merino. It's really soft. I got an entire bag of just a bunch of colors of these from my local Buy Nothing group, which if you are not in your local Buy Nothing group, pause this video, go to Facebook. I know we don't like Facebook, but we let it slide for this one thing. Sign up for your local Buy Nothing group. I know they're all different, but I have gotten so many amazing things from my local Buy Nothing group, and then I've also been able to give things that I don't use anymore to people that I know are going to use them. It's like such a win-win. I love Buy Nothing groups. A knitter was giving away her stash because her wrist is injured and she doesn't think she's going to be able to pick it back up, which was really sad, but I was like, hey queen, I will use that, you best believe. Another person also responded that they wanted to pick up some, so we split the stash. I got mostly this cotton fleece in just a ton of colors, clearly. And I was debating what to do with them for a while. I knew I wanted to do something summery and fun. And then I remembered I saw the Blok top when I was on the local yarn store tour at Strike? That yarn store. And I was like, wait a second, I could do just like a crazy colorful version of that. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? This is also a blast. Like, this is so fun. You guys know how much I love just an absolutely chaotic color situation. Like, I love a scrap project. I love just chaotic color combinations. I love color. So this is quite literally exactly up my alley. I also just like to do a crochet project every so often just so I don't lose that skill. because I do like crochet and I think it's really fun. This is a hot take, but I think crochet is actually a little bit more fun than knitting. I just find knitting to be a lot more practical in terms of what I want to make. Like, I still think knitting is fun. I'm not saying I don't think it's fun. I think crochet is a little bit more fun because it's like, I don't know, you just get going and it's like, woo! That was probably the lamest thing I've ever said, I think. And there's like a lot of competition for that, but that might be it. Anyway, I just occasionally like to do a crochet project just so I can kind of like work that muscle so I don't lose it. But yeah, I'm having so much fun with this, and I think it's an excellent use of this cotton fleece because I just had like one skein of all of these colors and more, so it wasn't like I can make one full garment with just one color. It was gonna have to be like striped or scrappy or something, so I'm glad I went with this. I think it's gonna be so cute. Clearly this is like, that's not enough, but I think it's a really cute start. I want it to be kind of a little bit shorter than my Olga jacket. I'm not really a crop top girly at this point in my life, so it will be full length. It will be full length, and then we'll have the kind of thick strap moment as well, which I think is so cute. I'm not gonna crisscross, I'm gonna do normal straps, but I'm really excited about this. I think it's so fun. This has been my movie and TV show project for the most part because I can just get going. I'm just having a grand old time, and I think that's so good for me. So those are my whips, and I'm about to tell you something. I expect a round of applause for this. I don't have any acquisitions. Yeah, no acquisitions to share with you this video, which is a very good thing. But I do have a couple of other things I wanted to chat with you guys about. So if you're only here for knitting stuff, that's all I have for you this week. But let's chit chat a little bit about some other things that are also fun. If you're debating staying, I recommend it. That's your choice though. First of all, I did miss a week of uploading. I was on a really good roll there for a minute, but I sprained my ankle pretty bad because I fell down a gravel hill and then landed like on my flexed ankle with my whole body weight. And that did pop very loudly. And then I did pass out a little bit all the way because I thought it was broken because of the aforementioned pop when I fell on it with my whole body weight. Did think I broke my ankle. It was really, really painful for the first 2 days. Like, I could barely walk. I've sprained my ankle several times in my life because clearly I'm a little bit clumsy. It's unfortunately my Bella Swan arc, I guess. But I have sprained my ankle several times in my life, so I know what that feels like, and this felt worse. And it did bruise pretty bad. So for the first 2 days, I was like, is it broken? This doesn't feel right. And then by the third day, it started getting better and feeling just like a regular sprain, and I was like, okay. I tried to go to urgent care the night it happened, but it was like around 9 o'clock at night. We were trying to watch the sunset at the beach. God forbid we have a wholesome good time around here. So it was late at night, and I called like 4 or 5 different urgent cares in the city, and they were all either closed or fully booked. And I'm like, you're an urgent care? How are you booked? That's not very urgent of you with peace and love. Like, I'm glad you're helping people, but I'm in pain. And they were like, you can go to the ER. And I was like, that sounds dramatic. I'm not doing that. So I just went home and iced it and cried a bunch. It slowly got better, and by like day 5-ish, I was like pretty good, but just still staying off of it for the most part. My point in telling you all this is I was essentially bedridden for like 5 days. So I didn't really want to film a video. And then last week, I actually did film that Q&A I was asking you guys for questions about, but then I just got really self-conscious about it and felt like I couldn't post it because I was like, does anybody actually care? So I have that footage. I have not edited it all the way. I don't think I'm gonna post it just because I really got in my head about it, and I don't know. I feel weird about it, so I don't know, guys. I'm not that interesting. There was no crazy confessions or anything. It just, I don't know. But yeah, and then also school. As we know, I have my first pretty big paper due on Thursday, and I should be writing right now. That is true. Excellent point. So noted. After that, my first intensive is almost done. Oh, okay. One question you guys did ask a lot is what I'm getting my master's in, so I can answer that outside of the Q&A. I'm hiding on my external hard drive in shame. So I'm getting a dual master's in psychological counseling and school counseling, and I'm fully remote, which is really nice. My program had the option to go on campus or fully remote, but it would have required me moving to the East Coast, which I didn't really want to do right now. I'm staying in Seattle and fully remote. I'm one of 2 in my cohort that are on West Coast time, which has been very confusing, but that's okay. So when I graduate, I'll be a licensed school counselor, and then I'm planning on continuing on to get my advanced certificate as a licensed mental health counselor. So then I'll be able to like be a therapist outside of a school setting. So that's the end game. I am really excited to be in schools though, because lore drop, both of my parents are teachers. I've grown up in schools my entire life, and my whole life everybody and myself thought I was going to be a teacher, and I actually started my teaching credentials once upon a time. I got a couple semesters done with that, and then I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if you know this about teachers, but they are severely underpaid and overworked and underappreciated. It's a nightmare. I have the most respect for teachers, okay? Like, I don't know how you guys do that. You're literally built different, because it's straight up unsafe. Like, my dad one time had a pencil thrown at his face and it landed in his face. Like, lead first landed in his face. Like, it was thrown by a 5th grader. He retired after that year, which valid. So yeah, they're like literally just risking their physical safety and getting paid a fraction of what they should be getting paid, and also blamed for a lot of systemic issues that are simply not their fault. So I was like, you know what? I don't think that's for me. But I still really care about schools and care about kids, obviously, and also mental health. And I was like, wait a second. Between being a teacher and being a therapist, this is kind of the exact middle. I'm gonna do that. And now we're here. It's going really well. I'm really liking my program. It's great. My cohort is super cool. I'm loving it. I love being in school. It's the truth, okay? I love school. I love academic validation. I love being told what to do. It's the best. I love being in school. If I could, I would just stay in school forever. Like, I would pull a Buster Bluth and I would just be collecting useless degrees for the rest of my life.
Actually, I'm studying cartography now, the mapping of uncharted territories.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hasn't everything already sort of been discovered, though?
Unfortunately, it is obscenely expensive in America, so that is a hindrance. I'm having a good time. That's my point. But it's also taking up a lot of my time. And then I'm still working usually around 4 days a week. My schedule is pretty variable because I work for several different families right now, just part-time. So collectively, it's like a full-time schedule essentially, plus school, plus this, plus knitting, plus my gardening. We're gonna circle back there. And then randomly, right before school started, I was like, what if I just got really into making candles? So I did. I don't know what possessed me. The Buy Nothing group actually is what possessed me. Somebody was giving away their candle making kit. Say less. That sounds like fun. Do I have time for this? No. Do I have space for this? No. Should I be doing this? Probably not. But here we are. And I'm loving it. This is just 2. I've made probably 20 candles. It's so fun. It's like making potions. I was one of those kids would just go outside and like make potions in puddles. I'd like to think I was a witch in many past lives, and now I'm here and I'm just making potions. That's always what I've kind of thought. It's simply the witchiness ingrained in my being. I was always making potions when I was a kid, like pouring random shit in cups and mixing it up and being like, potion! This is actually potions though, because like you have to pay attention to flash points and melting and temperature and wick size. Like there's so many things you have to be thinking about, way more than you would think. And it's so fun to balance it all and like be in my kitchen. It's like Breaking Bad, but if Breaking Bad wasn't hard drugs, and also a lot chiller. And also I'm not Walter White. So it's nothing like Breaking Bad, actually, but it does feel very sciencey and very potiony and very fun. So I got the kit from the Buy Nothing group, and then I proceeded to buy a lot more supplies after I made a couple, and realized that I'm obsessed with this. So I've ordered a bunch of fragrances and a bunch of other wicks and containers and stuff. I've had one catch on fire. That was not great. We put it out really quick. It was fine. Nothing got damaged, but my ego. That was just a wick issue. So I have adjusted. We have calibrated the wicks situation, the wictuation, if you will. And so far, that's been our only fire scare. Knock on wood again. Here I have a lilac, which is a delightful scent, and my tomato vine, which is also delightful. This is actually a very accurate tomato vine scent. So I'm calling my candle, it's not a company because I'm not gonna sell these because of the aforementioned fire thing, but just for funsies, I had labels and stamps. So it's Black Cat Candle Co., guys, because I have a black cat. They're all hand stamped. I just think it's so damn fun. I'm not gonna sell these because I fear the legal implications of that, and also I just don't want to monetize another hobby, you know? But I do think it's so nice to have just a bunch of candles that I've made to just give to my friends and family. I'm like Oprah, but with candles. You get a candle, you get a candle, you get a candle. So I'm just like passing out candles like they're candy, and I think that's really fun for me. So yeah, I think it's just like a nice thing to do, just to A, supply myself with candles, and then B, supply my friends and family with candles, and just get to make my potions and have fun. So I be making candles is my point of this whole segment. Let me know if you want a candle making. I should not be giving advice. Like legally, I should probably not do that. But if you ask nicely. Been making candles, and then the garden, let's circle back to the garden because I do have so many garden updates, guys. The garden's popping off right now. We've been having warmer days here, so it's just been really flourishing, if you will. The sweet pea trellis, I'm happy to report, we don't have any blooms yet, but the vines are getting bigger. For months, I was like, these are simply not growing. What is happening? What's wrong with these sweet peas? They are staying exactly this size. I mentioned that we're having a big bunny population issue here, and I was actually chatting with one of my neighboring gardeners, and they're like, we've been in this community garden in this plot for 20 years. This is the worst the bunnies have ever been. This is the most bunnies we've ever seen. And I was like, okay, so it's not just in my head, because I've been feeling like this is an insane amount of bunnies. And so I made the difficult decision to build a fence, which isn't something I wanted to do because I am a big believer in sharing my garden with wildlife. Like, I just think it's kind of mean. Be like, no, you get away. Like, they're just doing bunny stuff. That's just what they be doing, you know? But unfortunately, they were actively destroying everything. And I do kind of want some stuff to grow. With peace and love to the bunny community, I do love you, but you were causing significant destruction. So I did build a fence, and I did feel bad about it. But I will say, ever since I built the fence, everything has really taken off, which like doesn't help their case at all. Come on, like I was happy to share if you guys just took a little bit, some nibbles here and there, and left the rest alone. I was happy to do that. I've been nothing but an ally to the bunnies. I want that on the record. It just got to the point where it was not a sustainable relationship and I had to cut them off. But yeah, no, ever since then, everything's just really popping up. Sweet peas are coming in good. Had a decent harvest of radishes already, and I'm doing a continual planting situation of the radishes. So when I pull them out, I'm putting more seeds in. I really like radishes. I've built some pretty chill teepee style bamboo trellises for pulled beans, cucumbers, nasturtiums, and cucamelons, which I'm very excited about. And those are all vining up pretty good. My tomatoes are looking okay. Tomatoes are hard in my zone because we're a really like maritime climate at sea level and it doesn't get very hot, and tomatoes like it to be warm. So I'm not like expecting a big tomato harvest, but I think I'll get a few good ones. Strawberries, I've gotten a few strawberries already. My herb garden has really flourished. Did get infiltrated by some mint though. I did not plant it. I don't know where it came from. I have some mint in a pot outside of my main garden area. This is a different type of mint and I don't know where it came from, but it has infiltrated. So I moved some of it over to the herb area, but then there's another one that's popping up and I just know it's just gonna keep coming. And I'm like okay with that because I'm following kind of a gardening technique that relies on density planting. So planting a lot of things in a small space, as opposed to spacing things out the way that seed packets and stuff recommend. And the logic there is it protects plants from pests because you can like pop in plants that repel insects and pests in between other more vulnerable plants, and then also helps retain water and provides shade to plants that need shade. I'm not like hardcore density planting, but I am trying to get things a little bit more condensed. So I'm not mad about the mint. I'm a little bit scared more than anything because it does have the potential to really take over everything. So I'm just gonna have to keep tabs on that, I think. Carrots are coming in. What else? My wildflowers really have not. I have a few that are popping up, I think. I don't know what they are though. I feel like I should have more wildflowers for how many seeds I put in, but that's simply none of my business. But yeah, things are looking good. Paying a lot more attention to fertilization this year. My first year in the pea patch, I really was just kind of like, fuck it, let's see what happens. But this year I really went in wanting to do a better job fertilizing and amending my soil. So I've been following a schedule of fertilization. So I am using fish emulsion. And if you're eating, I highly suggest you stop watching this right now. What I'm about to tell you is really gross. Fair warning. So fish emulsion is unfortunately pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially blended and fermented fish, just whole. All of it. And it is the worst thing I have ever smelled in my life. Almost threw up. Did I cry? Yeah, a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a tear involved. It was that bad. I'm a nanny. I change a lot of diapers, but this was next level. It was the worst thing I have ever smelled. And it wasn't just that, it was the texture and the color. Is so gross. So you like pour it into a watering can and you dilute it with regular water, but then you have to do it multiple times because one watering can isn't gonna get everything, and it was just like a nightmare. It was so gross, but it's so good for the plants. And I'm just like, God, at what cost? I have to do it again, I think this week, and I really don't want to. And I bought a gallon of it because like I knew it was gonna be bad, but I was like, people are dramatic. Nothing can prepare you for this. Nothing. It's horrible. But I have made a commitment to fertilizing these plants, and damn it, they're gonna be fertilized. It's bad. Yeah, so that's the garden update. Hope you enjoyed. I just really wanted to give you guys the garden update and the candle making update, and then obviously update you guys on the knitting stuff as well, clearly, because that's in fact what this is about. I felt like I was collecting whips that you guys hadn't seen yet, and obviously had a finished object, so wanted to pop on here and catch up with you guys and let you know where I was and what's going on and everything like that. So I hope you enjoyed, question mark. I gotta go to the dentist, so I'm gonna dip. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, notification bell. I don't really know what that does. I've also heard it doesn't work, so do with that what you will. But thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you for humoring me and listening to my rambling. I hope you guys are having a great start to your summer if you're Northern Hemisphere, or a great winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, which will never cease to confuse me, but that is how that works. So, alright guys, I do have to go, and I am stalling because I don't want to go to the dentist. So I'm gonna be a big girl and turn the camera off and go get my teeth cleaned. I'm gonna be really brave about this. Okay, bye.